So, facial expressions. They can be tricky just due to how many combinations there are, but I have some tips for y'all that should at least make things easier. On the left are some drawings from Grizz and Norm, who make a wide array of drawing tutorials. You can find them with a simple Google search. And what they're illustrating here is the mask of the face, which refers to the muscles surrounding the eyes that raise and lower the eyebrows, as well as widen and narrow the eyes through either a pushing or pulling motion. On the right is a diagram from Classic Human Anatomy, just to help show what those muscle groups actually look like. In addition to the muscles around the eyes, we also have a section of muscle at the top of the bridge of the nose, which will either relax or tense up depending on what the eyebrows are doing. Grizz and Norm also note here that it's important to favor a side when drawing mouths, which will help add asymmetry to your expressions. This asymmetry doesn't have to be dramatic either. A lot of expressions rely on subtleties. Once again, on the right, we have the muscle group which pushes and pulls the corners of the mouth, similar to the eye mask. Here's even more Grizz and Norm drawings, which show different ways of positioning the eyebrows, as well as notes about nuance, which I mentioned earlier. Expressions can be extreme, subtle, or somewhere in between, but even slight changes in expression can mean two different things, such as the difference between angry and determined. On the right is, in my opinion, an even more important concept: guidelines. Facial proportions are tricky because viewers can tell straight away when the positioning is off. We're very attuned to how faces are supposed to look compared to other parts of the body. But two lines can make all the difference, one to indicate the center line of the face, and a smaller one placed almost halfway down the head to indicate where the eyes sit. It's a straightforward concept, but it will take some practice to get right, especially when drawing the face from certain angles. Keep on watching to see how I apply all these different concepts when drawing character expressions of my own. Years ago, I would reference Disney art a lot when drawing expressions, but these days I find them to be too exaggerated for my taste. If we think of Disney being at the exaggerated end of the spectrum, then real expressions would be at the other end, as they have more subtlety to them. Right in between these two, I would place Avatar expressions. Avatar also has its fair share of goofy faces, but for the most part, they're more subtle compared to your average cartoon, so those are the expressions I like referencing the most. Of course, you can also reference your own face in a mirror, which I will resort to if I can't find exactly what I'm looking for online, but PhotoRef is the easier option. For the following demonstration, I'll be drawing expressions of Kirsten, one of my OCs. Everyone say hi. If you're a returning subscriber, you've likely seen her around on my channel before. She is either 18 or 19, I haven't fully decided yet, and I used to switch the I and the E in her name around just so there wasn't any confusion as to how it's supposed to be pronounced. That was until I decided the proper spelling looked better, but I won't tell you what her favorite color is. You'll have to figure that part out on your own. These are some of the ref images I'll be using. One of them is from the first Legend of Korra art book, and the other two are screenshots from the first episode that stood out to me. I'm starting off with the slight happy expression because it's fairly neutral and therefore easier to get right. So I'm just getting the rough layer down without thinking too hard about it, since I'll be cleaning it up soon enough. The corner of Korra's mouth is being pulled up a bit, so I want to be sure to include that. And keeping the eye mask in mind, her eyebrows should be further up on her forehead, as well as angled up slightly. This is a subtle kind of happiness without a whole lot of excitement behind it, like someone gave Kirsten a compliment, or she notices the weather happens to be nice outside. I prefer to make Kirsten's lips more visible for the sake of aging her up a bit. She is supposed to look young for her age, but I also don't want her looking too young. And this is easily my favorite expression from the first episode. It's a mix of confusion and disgust, but as you'll see, I lean more into the disgust side with my drawing. There's some small lines to indicate tension in between the eyebrows, and I'm adding lines underneath the eyes to show that they're being pushed in. She's also pursing her lower lip as she grits her teeth. You'll want to make sure you're getting the side planes of the head in there too to show depth, even with the more straight-on views. It's often said among animators that the shoulders act as the eyebrows of the body. Having them tensed up or slumped down will also help get certain emotions across. I've also made her hair more disheveled here to add to the mood. Cora's eyes are half closed here, which shows either fatigue or disinterest. Those small lines just underneath her eyebrows are meant to be the top of her eyelids. And her mouth is very low down on her face to make it look like she's pouting. I sort of emphasized that part in my drawing. Her hair is a bit too thick near the top, but I do end up fixing that by the end. In my version, it looks like Kirsten's rolling her eyes at someone, like she was just told an obvious lie and she's thinking, really? Come on. We both know that's bullshit. She's also shrugging her shoulders. Despite using no other colors for these, I couldn't help but add in her pink eyeshadow. It's become a staple of her design to the point that she looks weird to me without it. For this one, you'll see I did intend on referencing a Disney expression, but I end up winging it mostly. I wanted a sad expression, but more extreme, like open mouth crying. But by the time I finished the rough, I'm thinking she looks more like she's yawning, so I just went with it. It's one of those yawns that makes your eyes tear up and your jaw hurt. I include some slight brow lines, and her lower lip is protruding a bit. I also add one little line to show where her mouth muscles meet the edge of her cheek. And there you have it. Hopefully you found this informative, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.